I had a son 18 years ago. My husband then pressured me into having a child, despite knowing I never wanted children. He then passed away, and I was left alone with a child I knew I could never care for like he deserved. I gave him up when he was a year old. I've tried my best not to think about him and have been living. I remarried and I'm all right. Well, he recently reached out and made it very clear he wasn't interested in a relationship. We met at a restaurant and he seemed very defensive, and there was quite a lot of tension. He asked me a couple of questions about certain mental illnesses running in the family, and I answered all of them. While I was getting ready to leave, I asked him if he would go to college or university, just to get rid of some tension. He said he does, and he even got a volleyball scholarship. I was a volleyball player too, and got a scholarship for the same school. I told him what I mentioned and called it a cool coincidence. He rolled his eyes at me and said, "It isn't a coincidence if you're my biological mother." I didn't know what to say to that. He continued, "What? Is it too much for you to handle? I'm sorry for having something in common with you, my mother. My bad for being born." I said I was sorry, but he kept rolling his eyes. I began to feel overwhelmed, and I know this isn't fair for me to say, but he was beginning to remind me of his father, and I ended up saying, "Look, I'm sorry, but I never wanted to be a mother. You're allowed to be angry, but please understand that I was forced into having a child I never wanted." He went, "Way to play the victim," before storming off. Safe to say, I feel terrible. The only people who know about this are my mother and sister, and even they said that I was only thinking about myself at that moment, and I shouldn't have brought up anything and just answered his question. They said that I made it about myself, when it was clear that the kid was having a hard time facing me already. My sister even implied that I was a little self-centered. Maybe this isn't the best place to ask, but I'm too ashamed to talk about this to anyone else. My sister also said it wouldn't hurt. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You weren't trying to make it about you. You were only trying to relate to him. But unfortunately, because you abandoned that child, he's going to have bad feelings about you, whether or not you like it. And that does not make him an idiot. That's a normal reaction. These are the consequences of your actions, whether or not you like them. So maybe just apologize and move on. It really seems like neither of you wants a relationship. Disagree. Abandoned makes it sound like OP dumped him on a doorstep. Placing a child for adoption is not abandonment. It's acknowledging that you cannot or should not be raising children and doing your part to find the child a protective, loving home. If that grown man who was a child wants to act like an idiot, that's on him. Now he knows the truth. He can go back to his real family and treat them with respect. Agree, not the idiot. It sounds like he needs some help to get through his trauma from being adopted, but that's not your responsibility. In my opinion, you did the right thing. You didn't want a child and weren't prepared or mentally able to raise one. I hope you don't blame yourself too much for this interaction, as his view of you from the beginning makes me believe he wouldn't have liked anything you said, regardless. I hate that everyone here only cares about the son's feelings. Sorry, but OP has her feelings too. She made a clumsy effort to connect, and he took it the wrong way out of anger and hurt. Also, the son said he didn't want a relationship, but he's also the one that reached out to you. Hopefully, now that the time has passed, your relationship with each other can eventually mend, if it'll heal you both. The only idiot here is your late husband for doing this to both of you. Hard disagree. You are the idiot, OP. It probably would have been best to not meet up with him if you felt this way. My mom abandoned me when I was pretty young, and it's extremely difficult to deal with. You start to have feelings like you just aren't good enough, and you must be worthless if your own mother didn't want you. You should not have met up at all, or at least given him comforting words. There's no reason to say what you said, other than selfishness and bitterness. And one last thing, you made the decision to have the baby, whether you wanted one or not. Bringing him into the world was not his choice, and you basically blamed his own birth on him. Today was my brother-in-law's birthday, and we had a family dinner. The birthday boy, his girlfriend, my husband, me, our baby, their parents, uncle, and aunt were in attendance. We went to a Mexican restaurant, and I had steak fajitas. Our baby likes to eat off our plates. He grabbed one of my tortillas, so I tore it into strips for him. He also ate the grilled tomatoes, peppers, and onions off of my skillet and grabbed a piece of steak to suck on. My brother-in-law's girlfriend said it was unappetizing to see our baby grabbing food off my plate and giving her anxiety as well because she was worried he would choke. I told her to look at her own plate instead of mine. She was somewhat put out when I said that. Halfway through the meal, my husband took the baby so I could focus on my food and socialize. Baby went to town on my hubby's leftover chicken quesadilla. Again, brother's girlfriend said she was anxious and put off her food. My husband shrugged at her. After dinner, everyone else was using the restroom, and the two of us watched everyone's stuff. She told me I was very rude and that she could not enjoy her boyfriend's birthday because of our poor table manners. I said she should have focused on her boyfriend and her own meal instead of what my husband and I were doing. She said I was a very selfish person. I'm very irritated by the whole thing, but since she was so confident we were idiots to her, were we? I honestly have no idea how some people survive without being offended to death. Not the idiot OP. What did she expect? Your baby to use a knife and a fork and to make polite conversation? Unless the baby was stealing her food or throwing at her, she needed to mind her own business. What did she expect? Based on the anxiety comments, I think she expected them to bring parade baby food and feed him that, rather than letting him have food for adults. Many people flipped out at me when I let my babies eat real food in public. People insisted they would choke. Of course, neither of my kids would eat so-called baby food, so what else was I supposed to do? Imagine being such a self-important idiot that you believe a baby eating can offend you. This is exactly how infants learn about food. It's been this way for literally millions of years. Like it or not, babies will continue to exist, with or without the permission of brother-in-law's girlfriend. She should educate herself about baby-led weaning and shut up. There's nothing wrong with sharing food with your baby. She just sounds like she doesn't like children. Good for you for telling her where she needs to redirect her attention, since she obviously forgot why she was there. You're nicer than me. I would have told her I found her attitude unappetizing. Good job, Mama. My ex and I have 50-50 custody of our daughter, teen. We rotate holidays, and this Christmas was her turn. My family and I had planned a second Christmas for when my daughter comes back, to give her gifts and make sure she's not feeling left out. I make significantly more than my ex. My ex also has 2 other kids, a tween female, a pre-tween female. On Christmas Day, my daughter called me and asked if she could video chat with me during the day. I asked her why she's not spending the day with her mom and siblings, and she said she didn't want to go out and watch them open their cool Christmas gifts when she didn't get much. Apparently, the tween got a laptop and a pet, and the younger one got a new phone and Nintendo Switch from their mom, while she gave my daughter a bag. I called her mom and asked her about the gifts, and she said this was her way of making things fair because my daughter gets so many gifts from me and my side of the family when she can hardly afford to buy anything for her other kids. I told her it was still unfair to my child to watch her siblings open their cool gifts when she only got a bag, and she told me our daughters are teen and could handle this, and ended the call. I have 3 siblings who are all very generous with gifts and love spoiling the kids for Christmas, so I knew she would get a lot of good presents from them. I told them there was a change of plans, and I wanted to send the Christmas gifts to my daughter today. There's no way I'm going to let my daughter just sit there and watch her siblings open their gifts when she looks miserable. I took all the gifts to my daughter's mom's house and gave them to her. My ex blew up at me and asked me what was wrong with me bringing so many gifts and giving them to her in front of her siblings. I told her I didn't think I did anything wrong. I was trying to make my daughter happy. She called me an idiot and told me to come and take the gifts back, which I refused to do, and said I'll take them back when I take my daughter back. Not the idiot. Once she's 18, you'll get a call asking why your daughter doesn't talk to her anymore. You're a lousy parent if you sit by knowing your kid is being treated like that by her mother and do nothing about it. I'd have honestly asked her if she wanted to come home with me instead of having to stay there. As a parent, doing something that comes across as the idiot thing is what you have to do right by your child. And that's what OP did. thinking of his child when her so-called mother clearly wasn't. Yeah, if she wanted to give more to the other kids to try and even it out, she should have just let her daughter spend the holiday with you. You did the same thing to the other kids that their mom did to your daughter. Be a bit careful that none of the gifts go missing, though. Or let's pretend that either of these adults are, in fact, adults. They could have communicated before this crap show with their teen daughter. Hey, honey, you're only getting a few gifts at mom's house, but you'll be with mom, so have fun, and you'll get more cool gifts on another day. If someone pulls an idiot move and you choose to repeat it for revenge, and innocent parties are hurt, that makes you the idiot. This situation was handled poorly by both parents. Every adult in this story acted so ridiculously immature. What kind of messed up parenting competition is this? Oh, right, it's about the gifts. Everyone needs more gifts because that's obviously the true meaning of a loving parent in this story. Whichever parent gives the most gifts is the hero. Such a great lesson, and a truly warm and loving holiday memory for all the kids. The joys of holidays after divorce. 2 of my children still live with me at home. Neither one decided to go to college, and both have crappy minimum wage jobs. They have an inheritance from their grandparents that they'll get when they're 25. It's enough to live off of if you live frugally for your entire life, but it seems like a lot of money. Their older sister has just moved out after graduating from college. She did the grocery shopping and the cooking for the house. I gave her the money and she took care of it. I tried this with the middle kid the first week after his sister moved out. He and his brother spent all the money on delivery in 2 days. I didn't give them more money, so they had to spend their own. They were angry, so now I buy the basics: pasta, bread, eggs, cheese, that sort of thing. And I only cook for myself. My ex-wife, my daughter, and I have all tried to teach them to cook. They refuse. So they've had to cut back on their expenses because I won't buy ready-to-eat meals, delivery, or food prep. My ex moved to Wisconsin, and my kids know better than to say they want to go live with her. They like Texas winters just fine after experiencing just one up north. They talked to me the other day about food again. They said I'm being cheap by not providing them with better food options. It was Saturday, so I went into the fridge and pulled out some chicken thighs I had been defrosting. In an hour, I had buttered chicken and broccoli with bread for our lunch. I told them that I wasn't going to make any changes to how things ran in my house. I told them all they had to do was go to college, and I would cover their meal plan. Nope, they liked their lives, other than the food situation. My mom called me today and said I was mean to her poor babies. I offered to send them to live with her. She politely declined and dropped it. I do this with everyone who contacts me on their behalf, and then I tell them how it went. They don't understand why no one wants them to come live with them. I think I raised 2 stupid kids. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I thought you were depriving small kids of food and was ready to blast you. You seem to describe 2 young adults who've graduated from high school and failed to launch. They're running out the clock on the inheritance. Yeah, they can learn to cook or eat ramen then. My mom called me today and said I was mean to her poor babies, so I offered to send them to live with her. She politely declined and dropped it. I'm sorry, but this made me chuckle. OP, keep doing what you're doing. Your children having jobs mean they're at least 16. I'm assuming, so they should be learning to cook for themselves. Keep giving the same people trying to pressure you to cave in the same offer you provided above. You are the idiot. It sounds like it's time to give your kids the get a job or get out speech. You're only making them worse by letting them live with you. There is no incentive for them to grow up into mature human beings if you keep letting them live with you. You've raised some mooches who better learn how to earn their own money and survive as adults. Before they get inheritance money, they'll likely blow through in record time and then expect to return to mooching. Obviously, you've created this situation as the parent. Yeah, he's an idiot. I'm having a hard time not reading into the fact that the eldest daughter knows how to take care of herself and the 2 sons don't. Tale as old as time. The eldest daughter's taught life skills and expected to put them to use for the good of the household. What were the boys expected to do that entire time? They were coddled and taught a woman would do it for them. Way to go, parents. OP obviously needs to keep trying to correct it. but I think they messed up with their boys, and that's on them. I'm a 27-year-old female. My husband is 34, Mike. Mike works a lot. Monday through Friday, 4 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm a stay-at-home mom for our 6 kids, all young. Every day, I have to get the older ones off to school, do errands, cook, clean, do laundry, and take care of the toddlers. I know I signed up for that, so I'm not complaining much, but my husband works all day and goes to sleep early every day, so I barely get any help. On Sundays, he wants to rest all day or go out for a beer with his friends, so I also have to take care of them. I'm usually at home or at a friend's house where our kids are on a play date. Sometimes I get free time, like when my sisters come over, so I can go out somewhere by myself. But it's usually just the kids and me, because my husband doesn't really like babysitters. When Maya was 3, we left her with one, and the babysitter banged her head, Maya's head, so he doesn't trust them. On New Year's, Sunday, Mike had a day off, and Monday he drank with his friends, so I had to take the kids to my mom's house to get them to bed. She was on holiday, but I had her key and she lets me go there. On Monday, I had an appointment that I couldn't take the kids to. I knew Mike had Monday off, and I told him weeks in advance because all our relatives near us were on holiday, so he had to watch them. On Monday morning, he said he changed his mind and he didn't want to watch them. He wanted to sleep. I kept telling him he had to watch them, and eventually he agreed after calling me an idiot and yelling at me, but maybe I should have let him sleep. He obviously forgot, so I felt a bit bad about leaving him and ruining his sleep. I could have arranged a play date with a friend, but I didn't think of it. Am I the idiot? Stop. Not the idiot. You didn't sign up for this, aka parenting alone. I presume your husband decided to be a father. Fathers raise their children too. They don't just bring home a paycheck. Put your foot down and demand more of him, or he'll continue to treat you like this. Seems to me like you're always looking out for him and his comfort. Why is he not putting in the same effort for you? You deserve a break, seriously, because you're always working. His work ends at 5 p.m., but when does yours end? Also, he's the idiot for shouting at you. They can express their emotions without disrespecting you, especially when they're not following through on their commitment. Honey, but why you keep having kids with this man is beyond belief. I feel really bad for you. What an exhausting relationship to be in. Basically, you're a single mom raising 6 kids by yourself, alongside an extremely selfish and entitled man. Good luck. Look at the math. She's 27 and had her first kid at 20. She had to have been a teenager when she got with him. Once she saw his behavior after baby 1, and even baby 2, she absolutely signs up for this. Also, I have some serious doubts about his work schedule. Agree. Everyone's the idiot here. You guys shouldn't have had so many kids, to be fair. It sounds like you're unable to manage them. I can't understand why, when you have so little support at home, because he works so much, that you keep having children you have to take care of, when you no doubt were already struggling with a couple of them.